I wanted to start with some Shadow and Bone, of course. We all miss it. Is there any moment from filming that lives like rent-free in your brain that you'll never forget?
Weirdly, I think the moment from shooting that really has stuck with me is the scene where I first meet Alina in the tent, because I remember rereading that chapter in the car on the way to work that day. And I'd filmed some other scenes, but not very many at that point. But I just remember walking into the tent and having Jesse Mealy standing there and telling everyone to be quiet in the scene. And I remember having this sort of slightly distracting thought that this feels exactly like it felt in my head when I was reading the book. And I don't think, I've done quite a lot of book to screen adaptations, and that one peaks out as feeling very visceral in terms of actual adaptation. I remember actually calling the author at the end of the day and saying it felt really like the book, and I think you're going to be pleased with it. And she was. So yeah, that one, that moment, me telling everyone to be quiet. Yeah.
Iconic moment. And also, were there any season 3 plans? And did they ever like kind of give you a loose idea of what was going to happen?
Well, not for me. Sadly, I was, spoiler alert, dead. Very dead. Body burned. No, although it's magical. But yes, I was aware that they were working on a Six of Crows adaptation, which were my favorite of the books by some distance. I loved Six of Crows. I love heist stuff. So I was just sad for the actors that were playing those parts, that they never kind of saw it through.
Definitely. I mean, and that kind of brings me to my next question. Like, would you ever want to return to that world, maybe if it were revived somehow, you know, in some way, shape, or form?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I did the Darkling. I feel like I did that.
And I guess that's a dark character too. Did it like? I mean, that's an intense role to like.
It wasn't so much the intensity of it. It was quite a lonely thing to do though, because I think a lot of the Crows had their little band, and then the Grisha had their sort of tribe, and I found myself like I did quite a lot of scenes by myself or with people who would come in for a little while. I'd like to. I mean, I'm not really a director, but I quite like to direct a Six of Crows adaptation or something like that. You know, that would be. I want to watch it. Really, is what I mean. I just want to watch it.
But you do a good job. I mean, you're clearly, you know those books well at this point.
I do know them pretty well.
And I was curious if you're still close with the Shadow and Bone cast too.
Yeah, I do still stay in touch with a good number of them. We formed sort of quite tight bonds on that set, and so yeah, there's at least 5 or 6, at least 7 of them that I'm actually quite close with. And usually after I do a film or a show, I've found that in general you're usually able to keep one friend from each job, because otherwise you just don't have enough oxygen in your kind of friendship circle. But with Shadow and Bone, I'm still quite close with a handful of it.
Love that. I mean, everyone kind of loves that found family aspect of the show, and I feel like
it was powerful, and it felt like really good casting too. Like when I first met everyone, I knew immediately who was playing which character, even though I hadn't got a cheat sheet yet.
It's very cool. And we've seen you in a lot of kind of villainy, morally gray type roles, but I know you've said in the past that you want to do more rom-coms. Is that still the case?
Yeah, or just. I think I grew. I think particularly growing up in the 80s, a powerful time for like characters that you really root for in film, and I'm rooting for me. So I thought actually there's something in the kind of psychology of trying to play characters that I also would be rooting for, rather than characters who lie. And I think I've had quite a lot of experience now in playing characters that manipulate or mask or hide the truth or kind of have alternative agendas. And I really enjoyed it, and I think I learned an awful lot. But I think characters you're rooting for is something that I'm trying to kind of prioritize
Definitely. And is there any romance role that you've seen, I don't know, recently or in the past that you're like, I wish I did that movie"?
Oh, um, I mean, always. Well, there's always things happening. There's always so many actors that I admire playing different characters. I've certainly auditioned for characters, recently in things that I would have loved to have done, things I've loved since childhood. I mean, I've always loved like big sweeping kind of romances, the kind of like atonement, like those kind of things. But I also love like Notting Hill and When Harry Met Sally and lots of rom-coms like that. So I don't think anyone should touch any of those things. We don't need to remake everything, but I'm hoping there's some more fresh writing out there that's in one of those two lanes.
Definitely. I'd love to see you in a period drama, like a period romantic.
Yeah, I did a lot of period drama when I started out, and I developed a bit of an allergy to those high, stiff collars, and I felt very tight as an actor a lot, I think, and so I wanted to kind of escape it. But now I feel like I'd be all right to go back now.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe
if they give me some like fun sideburns or something.
Definitely, maybe a Bridgerton moment or something. And is there any book to screen adaptation you'd want to be in potentially?
Well, I mean, I read a lot of like fantasy books as well because I just love the escapism of it. But I read a lot of like spy stuff. Oh, I'll tell you something I saw recently that I was really thought would be cool was The Day of the Jackal. Eddie Redmayne did The Day of the Jackal, and it was like a very like Bond-esque, he lived in this Italian villa, but it was very grounded in terms of like when he did the prosthetics, he was really, really doing them. And if he was in Germany on a mission, he was speaking German like perfectly. And I just thought it was so well put together and kind of didn't really hit mainstream how I thought it should, but I loved it. Something like that would be really on my it's not very romantic. Oh, actually, there's elements of romance in it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
got a wife.
Anything. And last but not least, curious what makes you swoon?
I think like I'm such a like romantic in terms of like film. It's like acts of sacrifice. I suppose the modern like language is like acts of service, but I think it's like acts of sacrifice when people have to like give something up. Like in story time, I think in real life that's probably quite toxic, but but I think in story terms, I think when somebody has to like give up the job they love doing, or when they have to like build the dream house, or when they whatever it is they have to sacrifice for that person. But I think in real life that's incredibly toxic the more I think about it, so probably not that.